Alright guys, what is going on? I'm so happy to bring you guys the legend Winnipeg Jets BGM mode. A big thank you to S7 Hacksaurus for making me that intro. That was awesome. I had goosebumps when I watched it the first time. This GM mode is going to be really cool. And if you don't know about the legend thing, let me quickly explain it after I explain why I chose the Winnipeg Jets. So it was definitely a toss-up between the Buffalo Sabres and the Winnipeg Jets. And I was going to do Buffalo. I had the Buffalo thing ready to go. But then some last minute things. There's a few other YouTubers at this current point in time who are doing the Buffalo Sabres GM mode, so that kind of turned me off from that. And as well as, you know, I've seen lots of other GM modes of Buffalo on YouTube, and I've only seen a couple Winnipeg, and Winnipeg has a lot of really good things going for them, but they also need a lot of work. So that's why I chose the Winnipeg Jets. I couldn't actually I didn't actually choose for myself. I put up a tweet and I said, you know, you guys got 1 hour to vote, and here it was. It was a narrow victory for the Winnipeg Jets. So here we are doing Winnipeg. We came from Toronto, 4 Stanley Cups in the 6 years that we were there. That was awesome. We're gonna see if we can continue that here in chilly Winnipeg, keeping it in Canada though. But now for the legend. So I wanted to do this whole legend thing for a long time. I wanted to do it. I got the idea in the middle of my Toronto Maple Leafs be a GM mode, and I'm like, wow, that would be so cool. That would bring a whole new look to be a GM mode. And I went ahead and I added one legend from each team, and it's not specifically the best player to ever play for that team. It's kind of what that team needs. So for example, I'll just go through all of the legends right now. So I tried to make it, you know, what the team needs. So I guess for example, for Buffalo, I could have gave, you know, Pat LaFontaine or, you know, any one of the legends that they had in the old days. But I went ahead and gave them Dominic Hasek because they're obviously in need of a goaltender. Just kind of stuff like that. Some teams who are really good, you know, really got a really good legend, and teams like Columbus and Nashville and Florida, relatively new teams, you know, and they're not gonna lie, they kind of got snubbed for a legend. So I mean, someone like Pavel Bure on Vancouver is going to be a lot better than Columbus's one, but I'm not going to spoil it quite yet. We'll go through all of the legends, but as you can see by the thumbnail, as you already saw, we have the Finnish Flash, Teemu Selanne, at being our legend. I am so excited to bring him back to Winnipeg. He scored 76 goals in his rookie year. I went ahead and made everybody 20 years old and 4.5 green star potential, already at a 92. So this is going to make goal scoring in the NHL skyrocket. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for this. Other teams got crazy legends as well, just not us. But here is the individual stats for Teemu. He's 20 years old, obviously. I tried to make him, you know, exact same number, exact same height and weight, and I tried to make their stats, you know, kind of like the player that it was. So, for example, there's Eric Lindros, and I made his physical category crazy, and, you know, his puck skill is pretty good, but I didn't make his durability very good because he had a short career, you know, and you know what I mean? So I kind of worked the creating players in that way, and let me tell you, it took a long time to make every single player. But let's waste no more time. Let's get through it here. We'll look through all of our lines maybe in the middle of this episode, but let's get through all of the legends because I know that's what you guys want to see. So let's have a quick look here at every team's legend, and I'll give a little bit of a brief on why I chose this player or whatnot. I kind of want to keep it, you know, somewhat short because we do have to get on with our GM with the Winnipeg Jets. But for some reason, the players aren't on their lineup right now, probably because it's preseason, but I don't really want to skip over that. I know you guys want to see the players. So for Anaheim, I chose Paul Kariya. I could have easily chose Teemu, but I thought Paul Kariya to go there and then Teemu to come to us. I made why is Kariya 23? I don't know. Maybe I forgot to do the ages on some people, but I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone's under 25, and everyone's drafted in the exact same year. Everyone has the exact same contract, so that's really nice. But Paul Kariya is for Anaheim. We're gonna go to the next team here, which is Arizona. Arizona was kind of hard. I chose Keith Tkachuk. He played for quite a while in the desert. He's 24 as well, so I don't know what happened with the ages, but you know, it's not really a huge deal. So we got Keith Tkachuk there. Boston obviously got Bobby Orr at a 92. He's 24 as well. I really messed up on the ages. I guess not really going to matter too much, but Bobby Orr, 92. Can you imagine Orr and Chara on the defense for the Bruins? That's going to be nasty. I kind of want to fly through this. So Buffalo obviously got the goaltender. They got Dominic Hasek at a 93 overall. Yeah, he's really, really sick. Initially, I made him like 98, but I was like, no, that's a little bit too high. With the potential, some stuff got messed up actually. Now that I'm looking at it, he's 5 gold stars where other people have different potential. I don't know how that got messed up. That's really weird. Now I look like an idiot. But let's check out Calgary's. Theo Fleury, he's 20 years old. He's 88 overall. I made him more of a physical player. Still got the offense though. Still a very good player. 5'7", 180. Very, very small. We got Carolina. I gave them Ron Francis at an 89 overall. Everyone's got the exact same contract, which is really nice. Ron Francis played a long time for Hartford and for Carolina, so I put him on Carolina. Chicago, they got kind of spoiled because they have Keith, they have Kane, Taze, Hossa, Seabrook, Sharp. I gave them Bobby Hall, the Golden Jet. I gave them Bobby Hall. He's really, really sick. Look at those stats. He just looks like a nasty player, and I gave him on Chicago. And now to Colorado. People are maybe going to get a little bit mad at me here because I didn't put Joe Sakic on the Avalanche, but I want to see how Peter Forsberg is going to do. Just looks like the nastiest player. I love Peter Forsberg, and the Avalanche are definitely looking bright down the middle. McKinnon, Duchesne, Forsberg, that is just nasty. So on to Columbus now, and they got David Vaborny. You guys might not know who he is. He played for, and I'm gonna guess like 7 or 8 years for Columbus when they were first introduced to the league. Again, he was not the greatest player, but you know he's probably one of the best players besides Rick Nash to ever play for Columbus. That's made a stamp in the NHL, and I decided to choose him. I was going to put Sergei Fedorov in there, but he's more of a wing. So I went ahead and put David Vaborny. The Dallas Stars got Mike Modano, of course. Who else but Mike Modano? Just a nasty player. Number 9 there. They're going to be stacked as well. Jamie Benn, Seguin, and Modano. That's just gross. Detroit got Nick Lidstrom at 95 overall. In my opinion, he's the best defenseman to ever play in the NHL, so I have to put him at a 95. With that potential, they're going to be set on the back end for a long time. Edmonton, they got Wayne Gretzky. I made him 97 overall. Could you imagine this? Gretzky, Hall, Eberle. Oh my god, it's just gross. Nugent Hopkins, the Oilers are going to be so sick. I decided to give him, the 97. He is just an absolute monster, and I just can't wait to see how Edmonton does. There's going to be a lot of powerhouses in the NHL now because with that line of, Gretzky, Hall, and Eberle, that's just gross. Florida was another one of those teams. I got Scott Mellenby. He played for a long time in the NHL. He's a pretty well-rounded player, so I kind of rounded his stats to be, high 80s, low 90s. So Scott Mellenby there, I made him on Florida. Who else we got here? We got LA. They got Rob Blake. I actually love Rob Blake. I could have put Marcel Dion, but LA is pretty stacked offensively, so I decided to give Drew Doughty a really good defensive partner, really good defensive stats. The guy is just a monster. Rob Blake, 6'4", 218. Him and Drew Doughty are going to be amazing together. Minnesota, I gave them another one. I gave them actually a goaltender, which was Manny Fernandez, and he played, I just remember him stoning the Canucks constantly when he did play. So Manny Fernandez is on the Minnesota Wild, so they got kind of a goaltending controversy now. I got Backstrom, Harding, Kemper, Manny Fernandez, so that's going to be kind of cool to see how that plays out. So for Montreal, we got the late, great Jean Beliveau. He unfortunately passed away, I'm thinking about like a month ago, so I decided to pay respects to Jean Beliveau, put him in the game. There was a lot of legends I could have chose from Montreal, but I went ahead and chose Jean Beliveau. Nashville got Alexander Radulov, and he plays in the KHL right now, but in my opinion, if Radulov was to come over to the NHL, he would just rip it up. So I decided to put Radulov there. He's ripping it up in the KHL. The guy is just nasty. But there he is, Alexander Radulov. They're going to have a good future as well. Hopefully Olli Jokinen can get off the roster, but Alexander Radulov is the guy in Nashville. New Jersey, Scott Stevens, another amazing defenseman. Look at the physical category, just gross. If you get caught in the trolley tracks with him, you are done. Just ask Eric Lindros. But New York Islanders gave them Mike Bossy. They're going to have a nasty first line. Okposo, Tavares, Mike Bossy. One of the purest goal scorers ever in the NHL. I think he scored like 500 goals in like 700 games or something. It's pretty gross. Mike Bossy with the Islanders. The Rangers were a tough one. I wanted to put Mike Richter in, but then I was like, oh, they already have Henrik Lundqvist. So I decided to go with the Moose, Mark Messier, just a beast. I'm looking at their stats now, and their stats are not what I put in. I put his deking and his physical category a lot higher than what it is, so I don't know if the game kind of like messes with it a little bit, so don't blame me if the stats look a little bit different, like the individual stats, but he's a 91 overall, 6'4", 219. Who else we got here? We got the Ottawa Senators and Alexei Yashin. In my opinion, one of the best Russians to ever play in the NHL. Kind of a softie, kind of more of a diver, but I really liked Alexei Yashin. Growing up, watching him was a lot of fun. I was gonna put in Alexander Dag, if you guys know who that is. He was the first round pick from Ottawa, who didn't really do. Actually, he was like a first overall pick. He didn't really do anything with Ottawa, unfortunately, but I decided to put Alexei Yashin in there. Philadelphia got Eric Lindros, so Voracek, Giroux, and Lindros. These first lines are going to be nasty. Yeah, I put his stats a lot higher, but I guess the game kind of alters them. But there he is, Big E, 6'4", 236. What a tank. Pittsburgh, they got Mario Lemieux, so Crosby, Lemieux, Malkin. It's going to be gross to see the goal scoring. I'm thinking like 120-point years. If you got a line like this, a 92, a 96, and a 96, that is just disgusting. But Mario Lemieux, there he is. I made him one less than Gretzky, although I think they're about on even playing field for skill-wise. But anyways, Pittsburgh got Super Mario, almost over here. San Jose got Owen Nolan. I love Owen Nolan, one of my favorite players. See, why is his skating 99? That kind of got messed up, but I'm not really going to worry about it because with their potential, all their stats are probably going to be 99 come like the end of the GM mode. So Owen Nolan is on San Jose. They're looking like they got a bright future now because Thornton and Marlowe are probably on their way out, and then you're going to have Owen Nolan and Logan Couture kind of holding down the fort there in San Jose. But St. Louis got Brett Hall. I made him better than his dad because I believe he was much better than his dad. But yeah, I put his shooting category way higher, so that's kind of weird. I think the game kind of alters it, but there he is, Brett Hall, just a nasty player, one of the purest goal scorers ever to play hockey. Tampa Bay, who did Tampa Bay get? Tampa Bay got Vinny Prospal. There he is, 88 overall. He played with Tampa for quite a while. I think he's actually in the game. He might be like a free agent or something, but Vinny Prospal, I made him at 88 overall. He's going to play on the first line with Stamkos. That's going to be a oh man, like how good Tampa Bay is already, and then when they get Drouin really good, Prospal's going to get a lot better. D'Angelo gets sick, so Tampa Bay is definitely set. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Matt Sundin. I was going to put a couple more players in there, but I knew you guys would be pretty upset if I did not add Matt Sundin. You got to have him in there. Toronto Maple Leafs, absolute legend. I wish we had him when I did the Toronto Maple Leafs. That would have been awesome, but now they have their first line center completely solidified. Now it can be Sundin, Kessel, and JVR. What a sick line. Vancouver obviously got my man Pavel Bure. What a beast. Yeah, Pavel Bure, look at his skating. 99, 99, 87, 99. You got him. He's the fastest player to ever play the game, and he looks really nasty as well. Vancouver is definitely set there. Washington, the last team, they got Peter Bondra. So Peter Bondra played a long time, had like 50 goals like in like 4 or 5 consecutive years. He was a monster, and I gave him to Washington. So that first line is going to be just sick. I keep on mentioning the first lines, but it is really nasty what's going to happen here in the NHL. So that took a little bit longer than I actually anticipated, but I wanted to go over everybody, and if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. It's kind of concrete. Let me know if you think I should change anyone. I'm not going to, but I want to hear what your guys' opinions are, if I made anyone too low or too high, because I know I'm never going to please everyone, and everyone's going to have an opinion, but let me know in the comments. Before we end off this episode, let's actually look at our roster here. So, Andrew Ladd, Brian Little, and Teemu Selanne. So Ladd's pretty good. I think I'm going to put Kane there, actually. Brian Little, who's a little, no pun intended, but I mean, Brian Little's decent. He's probably a better second liner, but we have Mark Scheifele coming up, who I've seen in multiple GM modes get to 89, 90, 91 overall. So he's a really promising prospect for us. 83, I'm just kind of looking at his stats right now. He looks pretty good. He looks very, very solid. So our second line is actually really, really good. Brian Little, from what I can look at from our top 6, who's kind of the only player I would like to maybe move up or trade. But you know, he's going to be the first liner for right now. I'm not going to make a trade before we play any games. I kind of want to see how the first line is going to play out with Evander Kane, Little, and Solani. And then Wheeler, Mark Scheifele, and Andrew Ladd. That's pretty sick as well. Our top 6 actually really, really nice offensively. And then our third line, Gagliardi, the 4-goal man, Matthew Perreault, and Michael Frolik. Having an 84 on the third line is not bad at all. We got Tangradi, Thorburn, and Jim Slater. Is there anybody scratched here? We got Paul Postma, who's a defenseman that's scratched, and a couple scrubs who are scratched. So defensively, Zach Bogosian, Dustin Byfuglien, Tobias Enstrom, Jacob Trouba. Now here's a guy I am stoked for. He is going to be a monster. I've seen him get really good in lots of different GM modes. So having Jacob Trouba there is going to be really nice once maybe Byfuglien is on the move out, or even Zach Bogosian. But Jacob Trouba is going to be a really good prospect for us come a couple of years here. We also have Josh Morrissey in the minors. So you got to think we're definitely set defensively. Maybe add a couple pieces here and there, but I'm trying to think for the future. Josh Morrissey and Jacob Trouba as our top 2. I am so okay with that. So we got Klitzum and Mark Stewart there to round off our defensive core. And in net, I think, it's going to be a big problem. Andre Pavlik and Hutchinson. So Hutchinson is what? He's 24. He's a decent backup for sure. So I think we got our backup, you know, that's no problem. But Andre Pavlik, if there's one goalie I really dislike in the NHL, it's definitely Andre Pavlik. I think he's even a career backup goalie. I don't think he's very good at all, even in the real NHL. And I don't think he's gonna cut it here in Winnipeg for us. So maybe thinking about getting a new goaltender and a number 1 centerman. You guys can let me know in the comments. But Andre Pavlik, I just don't think he's really the guy. So we'll play it out for right now. We're not gonna make any trades as of right now, but I do want to make that move eventually, or trade or draft a goaltender who we can morph into being a number 1. Like we did. We traded for Malcolm Subban really early in Toronto, and he turned out to be just absolute monster. Check what we have here in the minors. So we got Halischuk, Odell, Jaffrey. Actually, let me send those guys down really quickly, the guys who are not going to use. Who else is there? Who is there? I know we have Josh Morrissey. He's probably in the minors. You're right there. 74 overall. 2-way defenseman, going to be a beast. Nick Patan as well, the world junior hero. What else we got here? Adam Party. It's not a party without Adam Party. Halischuk, okay, that's not bad. This guy we can send down. We can send down you, and we're using Thorburn. Look at that guy. It looks like Jesus with the curly hair there. But yeah, that's how the team is looking. For trades, this is how this GM mode is going to work. In trades, I'm really going to use you guys more than I have ever. This is just as much your GM as it is mine. So we're not going to get any simulation done here. I want to leave it where it is. I want to read your guys' comments, and then I will come back and I will assess where we're at. But I think the immediate needs are going to be a number 1 centerman and a goaltender. So I am so excited to start this. Let's actually get the preseason done here. I know it really does not matter, but I just kind of want to get it done. I actually want to talk about one more thing. So here is the owner. Says you are now the GM of the Winnipeg Jets, and we are giving you a crack at calling the shots for the next 3 years. I am looking for at least 35 wins out there from you in order to keep me happy. Trust me, you want to keep me happy. I sign your checks. All right, buddy. No problems at all. I got you. What I want to talk about, though, I want to talk about the injuries. So this year, or this GM mode, we're going to be, because let me get the scout out really quickly. Going to go, obviously, the Connor McDavid in the OHL. You got the scouting assignment. But what I'm doing is playing with injuries on. So what that means, obviously, injuries are going to happen, but I have the injury frequency very, very low. So what that means is, injuries are still going to be common. They're just going to be not as common. They're going to be injuries throughout the year, just, maybe one every, 20 games or something. I don't even know how the whole thing works, but I know injuries are pretty overpowered. Sometimes you can have 3 or 4 injuries in one game, but so far we have seen no injuries. We're 1-3-1. That's not the best preseason. Let's just slow sim this one just because. Timu, where are you at, buddy? We got Koivu, Michael Frolik, and Zach Parise. Second period. There you go. Chris Thorburn and Blake Wheeler, and they absolutely destroy us in the third period. That's okay. It's just preseason. I'm not even worried about that. But injuries are going to be on, so that's going to be something new for this GM mode, and I just cannot even wait. So, you know what we're going to do, actually? We're going to get the first game. Oh, it's perfect. It's against the Arizona Coyotes. It's amazing. It's perfect. It's actually perfect. You could not write a better start for this GM. We're going to slow sim the first game, and then I'm going to cut this one off. But, hey, it's your boss. I know that we have to take a long-term approach to the success of this franchise, a.k.a. Jacob Trouba, Josh Morrissey, Timu Solani. I'll be happily surprised if you make the playoffs, but won't be angry if you don't. So our GM or our owners kind of like, you know what, make the playoffs, great. If you don't worry about it, pal. Which that's not how I want to roll. I want to make sure I want to make sure we can start it off right, and I want to make sure we have pieces in place for every. I want to make sure we have prospects in place and pieces in place to make us, a good team, not just now, but in 3 or 4 years. So let's quickly get the first game done here against the Arizona Coyotes. Absolutely perfect. Winnipeg versus Arizona. You cannot write this stuff. Let's go. First period, 2-1. There you go. Timu Solani scores the first goal. You can't write this stuff. It's absolutely perfect. And TJ Gagliardi gets another one. Timu Solani on the power play. Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets one on Andre Pavlik. Period number 2. Okay, Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets 2 on Mr. Pavlik. I think Pavlik's probably my Olli Jokinen of goaltenders. I just really dislike him. I think he's even like a below average backup. I just absolutely can't stand him. I don't think he's very good at all, but it's a 2-2 game here. We don't got to talk about that. We got to have faith in him. We got to have hope in him. Come on, buddy. He's playing good right now. Stopping 28 shots, minute left, going into OT. Come on, Solani, you'd be perfect. Or at least Keith Tkachuk. Let's see a legend here. Let's see a legend in shootout. Oh, Sam Gagner with the nasty shootout moves that he had in Edmonton. Spoils the debut. Shots were even, but I mean, 0-0 and 1 to start off our career here in Winnipeg. It's not too bad. Solani had the 1 goal, opened the scoring 7 minutes in. Let's have another 76 goal year, team. That would be awesome. So guys, that's going to be it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know absolutely anything. I want to hear positive comments, negative comments, constructive criticism. I need you guys to really be a huge part of this GM. You guys are my assistant GMs, and you're a huge part of this. So thank you for watching, and I cannot wait to get more of this started. The Legend GM is going to be so much fun, but thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in episode number 2.